You made some sporadic appearances between
Yes.
2016 and now,
Yes.
but how did you coming back full-time happen?
Crazy. I feel like this is a God thing. So when I left in 2016, took care of my dad, then my mom stayed living with me, and then eventually she got cancer as well. I went to now in 2019, I went to PFL, the Professional Fighters League in MMA. So I started announcing for them. I announced for 4 years with them. But mom had gotten sick during that time. And so did the same thing for her, like took care of her. My sister came. My sister did this as well with my dad. She basically lived with me so we could take care of both of them. And she passed in 2021. And then by the end of 2021, my marriage just dissolved. I had to make a really hard decision. And it's wild that I went to Spain, where I grew up. I went there to kind of tap into my younger self and to separate myself from the situation to kind of see things clearly. And for 3 weeks, I sat there and I wrote everything out. And then I came back and I made the decision. But I was devastated because I didn't see it coming. I didn't want this. I mean, right? But you get to a point where if you're not living in a very healthy way, you got to make a decision. And so I needed to make that decision. And so I dissolved that. I kept PFL. I did the 2022 season, and then 2023 season came, and all of a sudden I lost my voice. And I couldn't figure out why. I went through 4 months trying to figure out what was wrong with my voice. I couldn't announce. I could speak, but I could barely sing. And I could just, anytime I went to do something forceful, boisterous, it would just swell up and disappear. And my vocal coach was telling me, because I was like, okay, maybe I should just be on vocal rest. And he's like, no, we can't do that because then you're atrophy. Like, we got to work this out. But come to find out, like when I tried to do the championship for the 2023 season, I just couldn't. It was at Madison Square Garden. And that very next week, my boss called me. He's like, we're not going to be able to sign you for 2024. Like, we don't even know what's wrong with you. And I was like, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I'm an announcer without a voice. But the very next week, my voice cleared up. And I'm like, what is happening here?
What was it?
And sure enough, I had the house. I was living in Laguna Beach and I had it checked out. And I thought it was mold because I'd encountered mold in houses before, but it wasn't. It was a gas leak, huge gas leak that I had there for 4 months, inflaming, just inhaling all these flames or fumes. And they're like, thank goodness you don't smoke or you don't light candles. And that's why I was so irritated. And my body just went through, I had to go through hyperbaric chambers and detox and all. But by then I'd lost that, right? So then I ended up deciding by the end of 2023, I decided to move to my parents' house in South Carolina. So I left California. The house had been sitting there, since they moved in 2016. So I went and wow, that was, what a chapter. For 8 months, sat there and went through all my childhood memories because that's the house that I grew up in from when I moved from Spain when I was 8 years old. So going through all of this stuff, my parents had like added to the house. And by then it was like almost 4,000 square feet, a lot of hoarding, It's like that generation just wanted to keep everything. So I went through a lot. My sister would come back and forth from Nashville. But sitting with those memories in the house, wow, that was tough. And I dealt with that for 8 months. And then that led me to Atlanta. I get to Atlanta and somebody suggested, oh, by the way, at the end of 21, and I am going to get to your question, but I think this is all important to lead to that.
You've been through a lot.
Yeah. I mean, by the end of 2021, when I made the decision, December 1st, December 1st is when I finally told him, my friend extended her hand the second week of December. She's like, do you want to go to Mariners with me? And I was like, what is that? She's like, my church. And I was like, well, I'm Catholic. She goes, well, this is non-denominational. I was like, okay, I've never been to non-denominational. It's fine. I walk in and the band starts playing and they're playing for 20 minutes and it's like they're playing rock music and there's lights and I'm like, wait, we're not even in a church. It's like in an auditorium. I mean, arena. And I'm like, what? Am I a church or am I a rock concert? Like, what is this? And I was just so like moved by it and the message and everything that I was like, I have to come back next week. And by the second week, I was like, oh, I had to see if they need a singer. It's like I could just got everything in me. I don't know whether it's God, whatever, but everything in me is like, go find out. And sure enough, they did a really quick audition. I heard that usually it takes 6 months, and I was in there in like 2 weeks. So I was meant to be, so I started becoming a worship leader and really, and that brought me back. I mean, and I got into a church program that really helped me deal with my divorce and helped me deal with a lot of trauma that I'd been through in my life. And from that, I ended up getting rebaptized. When I say rebaptized, I was baptized as a baby, but I made the choice as an adult. And it was on Easter Day, which was fascinating. It was amazing that it was that day because it also happened to be my grandmother's birthday. And my grandmother was the first 14 years of my life. She lived with us. And she's the one that really just poured so much love. I know love because of my grandmother. So the fact that it was her birthday as well. So then when I moved to Atlanta and I'd watched the movie The War Room, which was amazing, I had created this prayer closet because it talks about it in the war room and is where I meditate and all. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right, God, I've done everything that I feel like you want me to do. I've stepped away from this, stepped away from that, lost my voice. I've, found out what it was, but at the same time, I lost my job at PFL, didn't get re-signed. And no income coming in. I've gone to this house for 8 months and emptied it, still waiting for it to sell, right? And I'm like, I literally have 1 more month left of income. You say you do not abandon. Like, I feel like I've done everything you want me to do. I will trust, but I am scared. And then 2 weeks later, I get the call from Triple H to come back.
Wow.
What
perfect timing.
But that's why I say there's so many of these things that happen that I go, oh, no, God makes himself obvious. And for me, that's when people ask me, like, how do you have faith? How do you really believe? Because it's happened too many times. And I've been through a lot in my life that I know he's been there for me. And so, yeah, that was wild. And it was just kind of like, all right, you're not just going to start. We don't need you in a few weeks. We need you now.